everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. Hey, thanks for deciding to join me for this month's reading for you guys. And Gemini, this is your reading. So you see before you 3 different decks of cards. We're not using them all. We are going to pick from these 1, 2 and 3, which are 1, 2 and 3. I will shuffle these cards and don't know what order they are. And then I will pick one from the top, and that will be the card that we actually, or the deck rather, that we use for your reading. So Gemini, which deck are we using? I was obviously going to pick that one. Deck number 3, that's this deck, the John Holland card series. So I will just move the other 2 out of the way. Shuffle with some intent for Gemini for November 2017. We're using 4 cards. They are each designated an area. The first card is love and relationships. The next is finances and career. The third one is home, and the fourth one is health. You have got a whole bunch of what we consider major arcana cards here. Number 4, the authority, which is the Emperor card. Number 19, the light, which is the Sun card. And then you have the throat chakra as well. Now we are going to be dealing one more card from this, which is the James Van Praagh deck, the Soul Messages, which uses the mandala vibrations on the back. So this is something for you to ponder upon for the month, to think about, to be aware of, and to either utilize or to know how to move through it. So depending on the message that comes will be depending on the way it goes. So Gemini, failure. That doesn't sound a very pleasant card to look at, but often when we actually move through the words and the cards, they really embellish the complete opposite of that initial word. So let's just move these in a little bit closer so we can view them nice and clearly. Your first card on the top left, number 8, which would be the 8 of Wands in the traditional tarot deck, which is called Accelerated Motion, is about love and relationships. Now this card has traditionally often highlighted potential new relationships coming into your life. And it doesn't have to be love, but often romance is associated with this. So for any of you out there seeking new partnerships of any sort, this could be on the cards for the month of November. This can also relate to other relationships as well. So it sort of combines all of your work relationships, your family, love and heart relationships. It can be your community or your wider community and your friendship circle as well. Now often, of course, we consider friends that we love them anyhow, otherwise pretty much why would we be friends with them? It's generally a very favourable card, this number 8, the Acceleration Motion. So it feels as though there's plenty of activity around your friendship zone. There could be comings and goings as well. There could be excited hyperactivity. It's quite a card of movement and you know, the feeling of people and actions coming and going. So there could be interaction between people as well, socially, and it could even involve travel one way or another, because this card often depicts travel and fast travel by plane. So some of you could be either meeting someone who you haven't seen in a long time, like a friend or family member that you're waiting eagerly for them to come to an event, or vice versa, you might be travelling to see them as well. So there's lots of different potentials in this card, but it does move very much around the area of movement, activity, comings and goings, and travel somehow being related as well. So quite an exciting, action-filled way to start your November. The next card, which sort of is around your finances and career, is the number 4, the authority card, which is the Emperor in the traditional tarot deck. So the Emperor is traditionally associated with the time zone of the Aries astrological sign. So he's often suggesting that some sort of activation or follow through around projects or ideas has a time frame of that part of the year, so March or April. So for some of you, this, and given this is the finance and career sector zone, that could be suggesting that something will be happening around about that time of next year. Or it even could have been something that you started this year in March or April that's coming to fruition as well. Or it's a cycle that's ending around about now that started back then. It could have been a project you're working on, or it could have been a financial cycle that started back then that's either changing or shifting up a gear or easing off around about now. So it depends on which way we view this, and of course these are general readings, so there's thousands of you that view it, and for each of you it can have a slightly different implication, so just to remember that. He does deal very much with authority, which is what John Holland calls the card. So he also is very much about doing things correctly and by the books. This guy can often be a new potential employer, or consequently it could be yourself acting in the guise of authority. You might be thinking of uplifting your current working status. You might be getting a promotion to one of authority, to becoming a manager or something like that. You might be deciding to start a business which has a degree of authority around it. You know, you become the business owner, so things have to be done legitimately and with strength and determination and authority. He holds values and morals and ethics. So he could also be a guy that is coming into your life that could be a new boss, like a new employer, or he could be a mentor. He's often very good for going to seek knowledge and understanding, and if this could be around your finances or career, this could make him potentially a bank manager or a lawyer or an accountant as well. So he bodes lots of those types of energies. Now it's interesting that he has fallen in the same position twice so far for different astrological signs, even using different decks. So there is something for a lot of people at the moment about doing things legally and just and having authority around this area of their life. Now I don't think it's a bad thing. It just means we're being put into line, or we're doing something quite official or quite steady. You know, it's that kind of thing. If it is just your finances you're pondering upon, it could again be institutional type energies here. So it could be that your money is tied up in institutions, either banks or some sort of investment forms, and that they're quite solid and quite, entrusted one way or another. I think if we move to the next card, which is your home card, number 19, which is light, which as John Holland describes it, a very attractive card to look at, which is the Sun. You know, the Sun is revered as one of the most beautiful cards in the deck because literally it brings life to everything. And it bodes well. It's the fertilizer of everything in our life. We couldn't live here on Earth without the sun's warmth and glory and every other nurturing aspect of it, even though of course it does have a harsh side. But predominantly the energies of this card are wonder, happiness, support, nurturing, harmony, love, new love, fertility. So if this is in your home card, you can kind of be expecting this type of energy for the month of November around your home. So it has a very happy, positive, upbeat, vibrational energy. So it could be quite social. There could be people coming around, and we got that with your very first card, that accelerated motion. It feels like you've got activity and people around you. You've been like that for quite a while, I think. You're sort of like busy and people around. You haven't been hibernating too much, I don't think, this year, or especially not for the last few months anyhow. It is a time of fertility, so we can see new people coming into your home, and this can even be in the way of pregnancies or babies arriving, or just new groups of people getting together that form a home as well. If there's something you've been trying to do, like projects, or you've been contemplating a shift or a move, the sun would definitely be favouring positive activity around this time. So think about that for like any work or maintenance or scheduling, or the possibility of preparing to sell or even buy another property. It could be quite advantageous for you guys in the month of November. We come to this last card here on the right, and we see the throat chakra. It's always aligned with the lovely colours of the blue, and we have a few of those here to sort of surround it with. The throat chakra obviously is up in the throat right here, and interestingly enough, there's a really nice synchronistic event for you, because I've talked about synchronicity before and I mention it a lot, but if you look at all of the cards in the top row, the throat is quite prominent in these cards. Now I guess we could have had any that came out, but all three of the first cards are showing the throat, and then we have the throat chakra. So there's something in here in your reading that's quite specific about this part of your body, and also probably about communication. So Gemini, you are the perfect communicators. It's your realm in life. So you need to either focus on that for the month and think about how it can move you forward. Now I have mentioned at the beginning of most of the other videos that this is a really good time to set your intentions for 2018. The earlier we start to set them, the more chance of success we will have, because we're formatting that vision in our mind. So we're bringing those energies of our intentions and dreams to the forefront, and that's what's propelling us then into 2018. So by November you should have sort of a grasp of where you want to go. Now you can either write it down in a book or a diary, or on your iPhone or on your computer, or you can start to journal it or dream it or focus on it or meditate it. But all of those are communication. They're all forms of communicating the thought form back down here into the real dimension. And by doing that, you will bring your manifestation dreams into reality. So there could very well be other messages around the throat chakra as well. It could be a month of communication for various reasons. We do see people around you, which means you have to be communicating. If any of you have any problems, whether you're like with your bank manager or an accountant or a person of authority, remember to use appropriate, intelligent communication, and whether that's written or spoken. And remember to think about how you communicate with the people around you. Choose the right words, choose the right times to sit down and have a discussion if it's about making changes in relationships, or whether you approach your boss and you're asking for a pay rise or a job promotion. Just remember that I think communication is key for November, and it could take you a very long way. So that's a kind of like a background hint. Also, we will address the fact about the throat chakra in the terms of health, because this is the health card. So this part of your body, the neck and the head and upwards, may be an area where you could be susceptible to like headaches or eye strain, or viruses such as like a throat virus or a cold or a flu. So any of those type of things might be activated for you as well. If they are, follow the logical steps and see if you can heal it naturally. Oftentimes if we get a sore throat or tonsillitis or lots of headaches, we can clear them by resting. There's also many wonderful natural therapies we can use, such as tapping. You can tap to get rid of migraines or headaches. You can tap various parts of your body to relieve stress. You can eat the right types of food, you can do Reiki healing, you can go and visit an osteopath or a chiropractor if you have a stiff neck, or if you have bones out of place in the base of your neck, which of course is also the throat area, sort of here down the back of the neck. A lot of people suffer from stress and tension around that part of their body. So it's also about dropping your shoulders. This is a really interesting conundrum. If you're angry and tense and, like feisty and, oh God, I'm all upset or something, you'll notice that your shoulders are hunched up. They're screwed up. Now, if you relax your shoulders right down and drop them down, the anger and the stress and the tension immediately drop down several levels. So at any time if you feel tense or anxious or angry, drop your shoulders down, roll them out and drop them down, and it relieves tension immediately. So that's another thing to think of. Also, the obvious thing for the throat is the thyroid. For any of you that think you have some thyroid issues, we have a population on Earth at the moment, globally, everywhere, full of thyroid problems, and it leads to many other conditions, but the underlying thyroid issues can be tiredness or lethargy, loss of appetite, mood swings, sore eyes actually too, like weepy eyes, and just general depression, overall feeling down. So the thyroid is a really good one to make sure it's activated and working. We come to the last card, which we've talked about as being something you need to be aware of, and it says failure. And it says, I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. So for some of you, you may have been in a situation where there has been some sort of failure, whether it's been a personal task you'd set yourself. You might have said, right, this year I'm going to lose, 20 pounds or something, and you didn't get there. Or this year I'm going to give up smoking, and it didn't happen. Or this year I'm going to finish my university degree, and it didn't happen. Who knows? We all have our own levels of personal failure, for want of a better word. But it's not failure. It's the fact that right now it wasn't achieved. And if we look at failure and denounce it, or if we look at failure and give it too much energy, we're allowing that to take over and to rule. So rather than that, we do exactly what it says here. I understand that a mistake is an opportunity to learn. So if, for instance, you said, right, I'm giving up smoking and I'm going to do it, but it didn't happen, then you need to look at why it didn't happen. You might say to yourself, okay, so I didn't give myself enough time. I didn't give myself enough support. I didn't give myself enough credit for the work that I did put into it, and I will attempt it again. If it's failure along the lines of, relationship failures, you could say, well, what have I learnt from this? Have I learnt how to rehandle a situation? Have I learnt how to be stronger in a situation and to stand up for myself more? So you see, failure is not that at all. It is the opportunity to understand that we learn from every single event that comes into our life. The only failure we ever have is when we don't learn from it and we make the same mistakes over and over again. Then we need to assess why. But other than that, Gemini, I think you have a really fabulous reading. There are some beautiful colours there on the table. They seem to be all jumping out at me. The John Holland cards are a real treasure to work with. They bring a lot of lovely light vibration and colour vibration into a reading. So I think you guys were lucky to get this deck. It hasn't been used much in the readings for the month, actually. Some of the other numbers seemed more prevalent. So I will just finish up there with a close-up for you. Energize yourself with those colours that are jumping out. Look at the mandala and see how it feels for you, and remember that failure is only ever an opportunity to learn. So wishing you all a wonderful month full of learning and light and love. Thanks for joining in, everyone. for liking and subbing. Check out your other videos and basically have a great November ahead. Much love.